On this video, I will be talking about dealing with offenses and finding freedom through forgiveness. Even though I talk about my experiences with my own father, you could be thinking about somebody else that you have made judgments against or have been hurt by. A mother, a sibling, a boss, a wife, a husband, a teacher, a friend, basically any relationship. Maybe the person you have made judgments against is yourself. Many times we want the person who offended us to ask us to forgive them instead of releasing forgiveness. A verse in the Bible, Mark 11:25 says, "I need to forgive so that our Heavenly Father will forgive me." Even if they do understand what they are doing, the Lord tells us to release and forgive them. I believe that not forgiving, not removing the judgments, imprisons oneself. Forgiveness, on the other hand, removing the judgment, sets us free. We are accountable for our judgments, our words, and our actions, not somebody else. It is extremely easy for the person who has been offended, abused, or hurt, making a judgment and now owns that judgment. I am angry. I'm bitter. I'm resentful. This is when it becomes hard to walk down this road of healing, especially dealing with your judgments towards the offender. Even if you are unable to talk to the offender, I would strongly suggest for your healing that you rid yourself of the judgments. I say this because these judgments weigh you down and you do not need to carry them. This does not release the offender of the offenses because they are still responsible for their actions. I will talk about this a little later on. A child's greatest disappointment may come when he or she discovers that a role model's integrity has been compromised by immorality, lying, stealing, abuse, etc. The depths of the wounds may be everlasting if not dealt with. The child might see it as shame or embarrassment. They might even blame themselves for what has happened. This could become resentful, bitter, or anger towards the role model. I will now give you a glimpse into my relationship with my own father, how I made judgments against him, picked up offenses, asked for forgiveness, and found freedom. When I was 33 years old, my dad told me, for the first time in my life, that he was proud of me. Those words changed my life forever. At this point, I began to walk down a road, realizing I had made judgments against my dad due to unresolved conflicts, and feeling responsible for his wrong choices. When I came to this realization, I knew I had to come clean with him. For too long, I felt responsible for things he had done, and carried things like resentment, bitterness, anger, lack of trust, and judgment. Please note that I said I carried. These things were weighing me down. Before that revelation, I wanted to hear my dad say he was sorry for those things. The truth is, he did not even know that I was carrying those things. He may have done the acts I witnessed, but he did not cause me to pick up the offenses and own them. I made that choice. Even though I was a child for some of them, I still chose to pick them up. Most of us hope the other person will ask us for forgiveness. After all, they are the one who hurt us. This is a hard realization for me, but as I was going down this road, I knew I had to face it. A few months later, I woke up in the middle of the night with a compelling urge to write my dad a letter, asking his forgiveness for these things. I had been feeling the urge to do so for a couple of days, but I kept ignoring it. I did not know where to begin or even what exactly I was carrying. I just knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. I needed to get whatever it was out. So I started writing, and the floodgates opened. I spent the next 5 hours writing that letter. Through every event in which I had chosen to pick up an offense, I relived all the hurt and the anguish. I cried. I got angry. I felt abandoned. I felt scared. I processed each event, recognized the offense. Then I wrote a paragraph and asked Dad to forgive me. I never made it back to bed that night. When I finished, the next hurdle was to get the letter into my dad's hands. Was I afraid? Absolutely. Did I have thoughts that I was making all this up and should just throw the letter away? Definitely. However, I chose to give it to my dad. After reading the letter, he approached me. Oh no, what did he think? I had to face him. He said to me, "Son, I read your letter." Once again, fear struck me. He then did something that blew me away. He grabbed me in his arms and he said, "I am so sorry Then he said, "I forgive you, son." We were both crying. Then he asked, "Will you forgive me?" And I said, "Yes, Dad." From that point on, I made a choice that I would not consciously pick up another offense, and if I did, I would deal with it quickly. This was very important for me because of the decisions my dad made in the following years. I did not agree with his choices, but I did not judge him, nor did I pick up any of his offense. This process allowed me to love him unconditionally and walk with him through some rough roads. I loved my dad unconditionally the rest of his life. Did he become my hero? In many ways he did. I can look back over my life and see all the great things he had instilled in my life. It is because of him and his influence on my life that I wrote a book, A Father's Approval, Leaving a Legacy, which I believe will touch millions of people throughout the world. If this story is you, I beg you to go down the road of asking forgiveness. If your dad or loved one is alive, please take the opportunity to write them a letter and have a frank talk with them. If they've passed away, I encourage you to write a letter and go through the emotions. Act as if you're giving it to them, and then trust that they would say, "I forgive you." Because of this process, there is no doubt in my mind they would say the words, "I forgive you." You can do what you like with the letter. Deal with it whatever manner works for you, and do not let someone else's procedure dictate what brings you peace. Some will burn it as a sign that they have dealt with it. Some will save it and reread it occasionally. Others will share it with others, hoping it will set them free. A friend of mine, Dave Marsh, recently shared, "Forgiveness has so much power, and so does unforgiveness. The negative we hold on to only hurts us, not the thing that we Let's try that again. The negative we hold on to only hurts us, not the thing that we hold the hate towards, like drinking poison and wishing it harm to the other person." I will share just a short sampling of my letter, just to give you an idea. In no way am I sharing this to tear down my own father. Dear Dad, I'm writing this letter to you so I can continue a healing process that started last December. Remember on the day I received my highest military decoration? You told me that you were proud of me. That broke something in me and began a healing process. Of all my awards, including the one I received that day, none could compare to those words you said to me after the presentation. "Son, I'm proud of you." I weep even now just thinking about those words. I no longer need to prove myself to anyone. I'm accepted because of 5 words. "Son, I'm proud of you." However, that was the beginning of the healing process. I was approved, but now there were areas of embarrassment, disappointment, and lack of trust I now realized I needed to deal with. I wanted to run away and not have to deal with it. God had different plans. And Dad, you taught me never to run from a problem. I still did not know what to do or how to deal with it talking to you about these things until I heard a father and son talk about their relationship and dealing with these same issues. They said every problem we face is a relationship problem. I knew on that night, the 20th of December, that I needed to write you a letter to ask your forgiveness for the lack of trust I had developed in you, the judgments I made towards you, and the bitterness I've harbored because of some things I've watched you do. I took ownership of these feelings, and I'm tired of carrying them. I am not sure how you will respond to these. However, I'm man enough to write this letter and only responsible to seek your forgiveness. How you deal with this letter is totally up to you. I remember that I loved to play baseball as a child and was one of the All-Stars. You never came to any of my practices or games. Only Mom did. I so longed to see my daddy at those games and became jealous of other boys whose dads were there for them. This caused me to lack self-confidence and seeking for your approval. Please forgive me for harboring bitterness. Dad, I cannot carry any more of this pain. I need your forgiveness and for you to become the hero I need in the Father. I have challenges to face and I need your strong, loving arms of support. Step up to the plate once again and above all, serve God so we can spend eternity together. Your son seeking his daddy's approval. There was a whole lot more things in that letter, but I just shared one of them to give you an idea. This process taught me about how easy it is to make judgments and pick up an offense and hold on to them, not only yourself, but also the person the offense is in bondage. Choose to heal rather than wound. Choose freedom instead of bondage. The choice is yours. Are you willing to stop the hurting, start the healing process, and find freedom? Please continue this road to healing and experience the amazing opportunities and relationships this will bring. This will bring freedom. I hope you will take this on as a tool to help yourself and others. For more information on forgiveness is freedom, visit my website at www.afathersapproval.com or order my book, A Father's Approval, Leaving a Legacy by Joseph Shelley. I'm sending much love and support. God bless you.